what do you think is the reason that bus use has declined or public transportation has really just...
Was declined?
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as the shops moved out of town, they moved out of downtown. It left downtown and started moving to the mall. And they're not running buses to the mall. Malls got big parking lots, so people driving to the mall, drive their cars to the mall. And downtown is not what it used to be. Everything was downtown, you know. And everybody used to flock downtown. But when the shopping centers came up, I think the first one in Birmingham was Eastwood Mall. They had the first mall, Eastwood Mall. That was the first one that started. And when they started that, then they started going other places. But that was the first one. And that started things moving on out. Everybody started moving. And I think Parisian started downtown. They had a store. They closed that one down. Brumberg just closed down this year, I believe. And I think they still use it as their corporate office downtown. You still use it as their office. But those are the last two stores, well-known stores that were downtown, and they closed down. And because shopping centers and the malls, you know, everybody go to the mall. But if downtown was to spring up, and they had opportunity to do it, and they built McWayne Center, and they still can do it. You can build a mall that open only close at 7 o'clock at night. Close at 7, open up and close at 6 on Sunday. And that still gives you a chance to go to the mall out, but it's good for, you know, you have your eating areas, and you put your 2 or 3 little nice stores in there and run a few others in there, and people can shop at their lunch hour. That's working downtown. And you got enough people downtown to do that every day. But this they need to do. You know, you got business down there that can really build into so that you can put your nice mall in. Like you got McWayne Center, do the same thing with that. Connect up the 2 buildings. And you can do it. And that really would help business. But they're talking about building a dome stadium, they're going to have to do something downtown with some shops or something.
What do you think about Larry Langford?
I think he made a mistake. Greed is one of the deals that got him. You know, power, want to be powerful, power broker. Thinking that he was untouchable. And that wasn't the case, you know. That he should have thought about some of the things he was doing. It wasn't for the betterment of the community. But as people stated before, he should have never came to Birmingham. He should have stayed on there with the county, and he could have went to jail with the county. You know. But instead of coming to Birmingham, he made it look like Birmingham. He did all this in Birmingham while being the mayor. But all this happened when he was with the county. But yet Birmingham got to take the burden of it. They got to. Because you hear about it, he said Birmingham, he did something in Birmingham. He did nothing in Birmingham City. Governor, he did it in the county. And they need to look at that. But he has made a big mistake.
Okay, switching back to Rosedale,
Mm-hmm.
when you were younger, what hospitals did you and your family or friends or neighbors go to?
I was born in Hillman's Hospital. Are you familiar with Hillman? Hillman Hospital is UAB. On the corner of 20th Street and 6th Avenue South. Mm-hmm. Okay? Where you see the hospital. That was the emergency room. Mm-hmm. That was the emergency room to go to the hospital. And all of your traffic, your walking traffic and all of that was in that area. You had a dentist, dentists across the street where you got UAB got that building now. Got a building they fixed up. But that was the dentist, or there was stores and that, restaurants right in that little area. Marita Bakery was across the street at the clinic, in the clinic. Right on the corner there. What's the name of the clinic? It's a clinic there. but they was there. Everything was in that area, but that was the hospital. But the experience that I had was I broke my arm. When I broke my arm, Daddy took me to the hospital, and I went to South Highland Hospital. Are you familiar with South Highland? That's part of UAB now. That's the one Richard Scrooge. That's the one that he got tied up in, that he went to jail on. Okay, and what happened? They put me in the basement. Blacks was in the basement of the hospital, and when that made difference separate the women from the men. No but a sheet or so, divided, but we was in the basement.
Where were
the men? The whites was upstairs, but the blacks was in the basement.
Was it good health care?
No, it was okay, but it's just idea where we was located, in the basement. So you know how the basement was, That's it.
How would you describe that experience?
Oh, that was something though. You wonder, why you down here? Why you down here in the basement? Why couldn't you be upstairs with everybody else? And they treat you like, you feel like when they get through with everybody else, they come and see about you. That's the attitude that you get, when they get through with everybody else, then you come up and that's how they treat you. Then they're ready to wait on you. And that's what happened. But I was there for a couple of days.
Would you say they treated you nicely?
It was nicer, but it's just the idea that we was down there, It make you feel, kind of like, hey, they could do better. And that's the feeling you get if you get treated. You get caught up in something like that, And I was a little boy. I was like 11, 12.
Did you understand why you were in the basement at that age?
No, not really. Not really. But I just knew that that's what the black's supposed to be. You get that word. That's what black's supposed to be. That's where you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be upstairs. You're supposed to be downstairs. You accept it because, your parents accept it. That's what happened.
Were there things that your parents told you about why things were so unequal?
Not really. Not really. You never. My parents never tell me why. They never said things was unequal. They never said that.
Just how things were.
Yeah, and that's where it was.
Was there anyone that was inside the community that provided medical care at all, or was you just had to go to the hospital?
They had to go to the hospital. We didn't have any services in the community. We had a doctor's office that was here that would treat blacks, and then in cases, blacks in one door, whites in the next door. That happened. I was like 23 years old. That was happening. So you're talking about 1963. That's where it was. It was that way. You go in the back door. You go, and I know some people refuse to do that. They go in the other door. You go in the side door. They go in the front door. And that was in '63 in Homewood. That's where it was. If you want to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm. Were restaurants like that?
Yeah, all restaurants like that. All restaurants, stores. And you go as far as going up Highway 20. You go to service station, and it was a service station that didn't serve blacks at all. Service station. You couldn't buy gas. Going up Brown Anderson up there, you couldn't buy gas. We didn't ask them was it day or night, but we went by there. They said we don't serve blacks. So you got to go elsewhere to go get you some gas.
So I think gas wasn't really convenient.
No, you can. It depends on you're on the highway. In some instances, they just didn't serve blacks at the service station. You pull in, ask them gas. We don't serve blacks. You just move on. And that happened. In that area.
How how was it growing up in a segregated community?
Um, what you can't do, you know. We had a teacher that would always say, "This strive for the best, because one day you will be going to their school, to white school." But then it's, you know, you wonder about that. You know, you wonder, is she telling, you know, she's preaching this, she's preaching this. One day, you know, do this and that. But you wonder yourself, would that ever take place? And it did take place, you know. But she used to tell us that. But she was more into the news, what was going on, and listen to the system. She knew what was taking place, you know, the legal system that was taking Brown versus Board of Education.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember, but she was saying that, you know, you had people tried to exercise their rights in 19. Shuttleworth tried it in Birmingham. He the only one I know that really tried it. And he got jumped on and beat up, stabbed, and drug up and down the street. He tried it in 1956 at Phillip High School.
You remember any instances of the Ku Klux Klan?
No, not in Homewood. No, not in Homewood. Not with the mask on. Not with the hoods on. Not that, you know. We didn't see none of that over here at all, you know. And I think even at the point that when they integrated this, you know, things started breaking down. You never heard nobody burning no houses down, sitting no crossing on nobody's yard. You didn't have that over here. You never had that. Period. Nobody never burned a cross in nobody's yard. But that you don't have, you know. And I think that you contribute that on kind of, like you said, working where you got blacks working at homes, you know, and they've been around blacks, so it wasn't something that they had never been around blacks before, you know. But during that time, you got blacks working in homes and stuff. They've been around blacks, so they know it's not nobody gonna try to kill them, nobody gonna do this and that. You had no fixed ideas about blacks, so that I think contributed to that, believe it or not. Because when they set up the school system, Mamie L. Foster, which was a teacher of mine in the second grade, she became the vice president. She was the vice president. She helped set up the program, you know, the integration of the community, you know, and that's how much they thought of her. Because she was on the board of the A&M. She was on the A&M school board up there, and she was, you know, pretty sharp lady, and they trusted her, you know. And she was on the board, and she set up the school, the school program.
So you think because people in the community worked over the mountain,
right?
Whites weren't gonna really mess with
blacks
people over here.
wasn't the problem. Mm-hmm. I did have a book. I had to find it though, but the Birmingham News wrote the article, proposed error, that it was a different kind of Negro in Rosedale than in Birmingham. It was a different kind altogether in terms of how he acted. You know, he wasn't wild, he wasn't this, you know, but it's just the idea you had a lot of educated blacks over here because our school was accredited in high school from 1947. A lot of white schools was not accredited in 1947, you know. You're talking about in 47. Parker didn't do that until 52. A lot of other schools didn't. So the school was accredited. They controlled their own school system. So you had a lot of educated people, for one thing, in the community that lived here, that was college grads. So it made a big difference, you know. They looked up to church members and plus you in the community, so people respect that. And that they did do. So you had no problem.